There are people who don't hate reality. They just can't seem to log off from the one they control. The endless grind of levels, quests, the way pixels pull them deeper than dawn. You'll find them hunched over screens at 4 a.m., thumbs raw, eyes glazed like loading bars, whispering, "One more game," until the sun mocks their high score. They aren't lazy or lost or addicted. They just escape differently. The psychology behind people who play video games too much isn't about avoidance. It's about agency. It's the quiet pact between chaos and command, between life's glitches and their glitch-free worlds. You see, for some, games aren't play. They're power. Every boss battle when they script, every respawn or redo life denies. It's not that they don't face the world. It's that they've mastered ones where they never fail forever. They hold controllers like lifelines, polished from hours of turning defeat into data. They feel the ripple of every achievement, the sting of every logout. Their minds are etched with deep, digital grooves that spell the same code. More. And that kind of immersion comes with a toll, isolation. Virtual weight isn't measured in hours. Sometimes it's a missed call during a raid, the skip meal mid-mission, the heartbeat sync to health bars. Psychologists call it gaming disorder, flow state fixation, dopamine loops. But what we miss is that playing too much isn't the rejection of life. It's the fierce grip on control, no matter how pixelated. People who game endlessly aren't denying reality. They're rewriting it in code they command. Their spirits thrive on victory, even the virtual kind. When they grind one more level, it's not waste. It's worship. They need the game not because they love losing time, but because time without triumph feels like defeat. There's also something wired deep in why the controller sticks. Every level up lights an old circuit. The one that rewarded hunters with dopamine for the kill, gatherers for the find. In today's grind, the brain still scans. Is this winnable? Will it reward? For the endless gamers, vigilance never pauses. The mind levels up, unlocks, reinforces. No wonder logging off feels like loss. But here's the paradox. Many who play too much pioneer the sharper strategies. They want balance, but not at the cost of conquest. They want offline, but rooted in the quests they conquered. They want rest, but not blind to every boss that built them. This is the electric burden of the gamers. The friction between logout and level up. Because it's not the world they fear. It's forgetting why winning once saved them. If you've ever hit continue at dawn, replaying raids like rituals, you've tasted this paradox. You watch others log out easy, unplugged, and a small voice hisses, "One more win." But deep down you know quitting would leave you unleveled, unmoored, smiling over saves. That's not freedom. That's forgetting. Researchers in behavioral psychology call it high-reward consolidation. These souls encode victories deeper, replay them louder, archive them forever. Daily life amplifies. A ping from a guild, a notification stirring buried buffs, a glitch mirroring real flaws. It's not obsession, it's neural new game plus. To cope, they dive deeper. Gaming then isn't always grind. Sometimes it's grace. It's the soul declaring, "This empowered me. I won't delete the save." But society rarely levels that. We worship the hustle, the grind up, the overnight grinders. We label logging in as lazy, depth as defect, immersion as indulgence. People who play too much often here. Just quit. Stop defining yourself by pixels. But what if the game is the definition? What if their quests are the forge of focus? There's a deeper thread. The bond between identity and inventory. Many gamers grew up in worlds where wins were rare, praise glitched, love low-res, effort mocked. Gradually, the psyche fused self with score. Being offline feels like betrayal of the avatar who rose. The unconscious remembers reset like muscle memory. So when life levels up, the spirit doesn't just hear opportunity. It hears grind. Yet, the most luminous part of these people is their latent leaderboard. When they choose to balance the build, it's boss level. They see strategies others sprint past. Their focus runs code deep, but so does their guard. It's as if they carry a controller forged in fails, brighter for the crash, heavier too. Every motion demands remap, and they remap with pixel precision. This doesn't doom them to eternal grind. Many who game too much bloom and deliberate disconnects, timers, real raids, tiny logs. They excel where persistence trumps speed, coding, creating, competing, because they invest with informed input. They may not quit every quest, but when they conquer, it's complete. Still, we must name the lag that pools with every play. Bearing buffs preserves power, but it can barricade belonging. Even the most geared hearts crave co-op that understands grind is growth. The quest is finding lobbies that honor the hours without halting the human. For some, that means micro-modes. 3 breaths before the load. 1 pause after every level. A friend who plays without judging. It's not about quitting the game. It's about adding multiplayer. Lately, therapists call this dopamine anchoring. The psychic toll of etched escape. You feel it in the slump before the session, the flinch before the offline. For profound players, the anchor sets fast. It's not collapse. It's calibration. A laugh feels borrowed. A plan feels fragile. And suddenly you just need one more win, not from despair, but to retune the trigger. Those who play too much invent clever countercodes. They ritualize mornings, sticky notes that say log out. Evening pages that bleed the day dry. Walks where footsteps drown the ping. These aren't fixes, they're patches. Methods of modulating the mode. And here's a velvet truth. The grind isn't always glitch. At times, it's guild. Discernment of detail, reverence for respawn, fidelity to flow. That's psychological mastery. The problem isn't the play, it's the shame for staying. We're taught productivity equals power. But what if pixel persistence is the real triumph? Balance endures. Total grind, cozy at first, calcifies into cage. The psyche needs co-op. Souls who echo epics without erasure. Growth happens in mirrored modes, even virtual ones. Thus, the true quest for gamers isn't to jettison the joystick. It's to journey with it. Start small. A shared raid. A sketch of the score. A circle that celebrates conquest without cost. Progress isn't purge. It's patch. A hand offered. A history honored. A high score hallowed. What gamers truly seek is an endgame. It's expansion. They aren't chained by controllers. They're charged by them, seeking servers safe enough to sprint. And sometimes they just need recognition. To not read their grind is rejection. To grasp that when they pause, it's not the now I doubt. It's diligence. They're not negating nerve. They're nurturing it. It's a quiet sovereignty, the kind unsung, yet sacred, for it dares defy the decree of disconnect. To venerate your virtual volume in an era obsessed with unplugged. The psychology of those who play video games too much isn't a tale of captivity. It's a tale of custodial control. Every echo has essence, and they've mastered metering it where it levels most. Sometimes the sharpest ache isn't the play. It's enduring the echo, the regret that ricochets, the muted wonder if they've muted magic. They replay the reset, rationalizing. I just needed the win. I was wired. Perhaps tomorrow I'll try. But inside, they know it's rhythm, not rupture. Memory mounts, mindfulness mediates. What multitudes miss is that gaming kindles not in conquest. It kindles in code. Perhaps it began when a child learned when was safer than world. Perhaps they were the player in a house of watchers, the grind in a choir of quitters. They learned leveling was durable over living. Gradually, that gear grew guardian. They didn't stop growing. They just grew geared. Cognitively, this births what scholars term reward pessimism. The habit of tethering tomorrow to testament, to temper terror. It's not aversion to ascent. It's armor in achievement. But here's the luminous truth. Gamers often harbor prodigious inner galaxies. Their persistence propagates prudence, perception, perseverance unmatched in reckless tempo. They are the guardians, the gentle giants, the quiet cartographers mapping mercy in a merciless rush. Their ballast isn't barren. It's bedrock where bravery brews. But linger too long, and locust becomes lock. Cognition calls it the grind reel. Each replay eases momentarily, yet braids the bond between bygone and break. Snapping the reel demands not cruel cut. It's restoring its song. Rather than reading grind as restraint, Morph it into mentor in measured motion. Micro milestones to mobilize, sans mutilation. One of the most misread gifts of gamers is their hypervigilant acuity. They register the micro-tremor before the lag, the throat catch before the choke. That acuity, unchanneled, recoils into retreat. Cultivated, it converts to compassionate command. The key isn't to kill the caution. It's to conduct it. Breathwork, body scans, talismans that whisper back, I'm geared. Because much of the grind is the task. It's the terror of tumbling untended. And yet, the paradox endures. Many who game too much are the most magnanimous mirrors you'll meet. They mourn mightily. They memorialize missteps. They minister softly. They manifest mercy in motions missed unseen. They simply grapple with the gravity of growth, the part that mandates magnification. For them, legacy isn't loud. It's the lingering lesson unearthed at leisure. The lingering look, the way they metabolize minus monopolizing. There's an evolutionary angle too. Not all were built for blind bound. In primal bands, prudence was premium. Some sprinted, some scanned. The scanners who stored sagas often saved the tribe. Their restraint was resilience. Today, that tenacity translates. Intuiting an ally's ancient ache. Pausing the pitch to protect the heart. When every era erupts at once, the mind moors to mantra as mainstay. The now era exhausts that. It elevates the effortless. If you're not vaulting, viral, or victorious, you're vanished. But truly, gaming too much isn't waning. It's warding against whimsical wipe. It's the essence's edict. I refuse relinquishing my renderings merely to seem resilient. Still, safeguarding and soaring must sink. Excessive safeguard stagnates, undue restraint rusts. The aim isn't to annihilate the anchor. It's to attach sails. In therapy, a practice called graduated grit gains ground. Incremental, ingestible inches toward the intimidating. Not to annihilate adherence, but to amplify agency. For gamer, that might mean murmuring one maybe, then moving mercy-free. It might mean mapping the mantra on paper before proclaiming it. The point isn't prohibition. It's persuading the psyche that progress doesn't pretend peril. Gradually, the form forges fresh fable. I can carry caution and still cascade. But let's lean closer. Why does mere motion sometimes magnify the murmur? Because daily dynamics delineate us. Every exchange exposes the earnest ego. When kin kindle carefree, we feel fractured. When cohorts commune in current, we feel cadence forsaken. That dissonance evokes the intrinsic interval, the gap between the self we shelter and the self we show. The more monolithic the mantra, the more monumental the gap, in milieus molded on momentary mirth. Thus the whisper in myriad modes is renunciation of rupture. It's avowing, I shan't shatter solely to shimmer. That's not defect. That's devotion. But devotion can desolate when the world mistakes measure for malaise. Those who game too much aren't eternally eclipsed. They're elsewhere, equilibrating their echo, pondering particulars none necessitated. They're recirculating restraint, refining resonance, querying if they quartered quests or quartered quietly. They inhabit the afterimage of attempt. Long past the pulse, their musings mull, sifting, sanctifying, scrutinizing. That's the tariff of tenderness. Yet therein lies radiance. Because when they deign to dilute the dictum, it's divine. Their disclosures dawn like daylight. Their discernment dazzles the devout. You needn't nudge their nerve. When they're with you, they're holy. They don't dart distractions. They delve durations. They're not pursuing praise. They're pursuing profundity. For myriad, mending mounts with reconsecrating the caution. Not as captor, but as crucible. You can cherish Kant, and yet crave the cosmos. You can clasp the caution without cloistering. Concord isn't conjured in ceaseless charge. It's conjured in cognizing when to clutch and when to cast. When you commence contemplating your continuum sans censure, caution becomes compass. You initiate to select, not from fright, but from fidelity. The cosmos craves not universal urgency. It craves custodians. It craves those who weigh the whisper of why not ere any utters it. It craves those who utter less yet uphold more. Gaming too much, when wisdomed, matures into weighted wonder. the proficiency to persist profoundly, not prolifically, because profundity, not precipitancy, precipitates veritable vital bond. And perhaps that's the veiled verity veiling this voyage. Those who game too much aren't repudiating the realm. They're yearning for a rendition resonant with restraint. A realm where they needn't negate their narrative into negligible nuggets merely to Nestle. A realm where reflection isn't redundant. Where resonance supplants rushed rhetoric. Where whisper is welcome to waft. Until they unearth that realm, they erect it in their endurance. And at times that's the most meticulous mode of momentum. Because one dawn when they deign to dilute the dictum and dance, they'll do it distinctly. They'll no longer labor to lighten the load. They'll simply search seasoned, sensitive, sublime. And those who witness will intuit it. That persistence, unbeseeching prominence. That poise, unpropitiating acclaim. That's the potency of those who erstwhile whispered. They emerge enriched. And perhaps that's the precept for us all. Vitality doesn't dawn in the dash. It dawns in the delve. In discerning yourself densely enough to dawn as one durable. When you comprehend your own caution, you finally harbor heft worth hauling. When you hallow your own haul, you finally forge foray to enfold others. Those who game too much aren't fractured. They're forging the sort of solidity that renders veritable voyage viable. And when they finally voice I can, it's not vanity, it's veracity.